Hi. Well, welcome back. It's Pablo again. How you doing? Ladies and gentlemen, we are in the cusp of a quarantine. It's quarantine 2020 and we are in April.
Why didn't I do more research? I'm so stupid. How did my parents birth somebody this stupid?
Okay, well, with all the craziness that's happening around the world, there's one thing that's driving me a little bit crazy. And if you haven't noticed, maybe you'll hear him. Just nature thinking that it can take back the world. This is our planet. Today, we're gonna learn about ornithology, the sexiest of all topics. And in case you didn't know, ornithology is the study of birds and other avian creatures. Avian is another word that I'm not gonna teach you today. Secondly, today we are only going to be studying ornithology in the concept, just so that we can know the mind of our enemy, okay? I just wanna know the type of creatures I'm gonna be up against, all right? Are they smart? Are they agile? Are they otherwise funny? Do they put on a good stand-up bit? Let's find out. I don't know. Why am I asking you? And our enemy are those birds that hang out over there, mostly because it's so close to my window and I'm trying to sleep. I don't want to wake up at 5. It's quarantine. I don't got anything else to do. Seriously though, I've been losing a lot of sleep to these birds chirping away, thinking that now that there's nobody around, they can just make a cacophony of noise. That's not the case, buckos. Now, the house that I'm staying at while quarantining has a lot of bird feeders in display prominently in front of the house. There's a bunch of different birds that end up running over to the bird feeders to just hang out. I've even seen some bunnies just hanging out with them. A lot of land around us, and where there's land, there's animals, and where there's animals, there's birds, and where there's birds, there's... That was actually right on cue. That wasn't a sound effect or anything. That was spot on my front yard. So definitely something that has been keeping me up or making me wake up way too early in the day.
These birds won't let me sleep.
And so I am waging a war on these birds. Are you with me? Probably not, because I sound crazy. Today we are going to move forward with our plan to wage war on these birds. Phase 1, getting into their mind. Let's do this.
Right now I'm doing some research on the different types of birds that show up on our property. There are a lot of different resources that you can go to find information about these birds. I'm by no means an ornithologist whatsoever, but I do think it's fun to try to learn more about the world and learn about the different types of animals that live on it. And so I went to the Cornell lab. They have an entire page dedicated to birds. It's called All About Birds. And you can type in different types of birds that you'd like to know more information about, and they have a plethora of resources within that entire page. They give you information, cool facts, where you'll find nesting, how they eat and migrate, different information like that, and it's really interesting. Today we will be talking about the most specific birds, my enemies. Those birds, the ones making the noise right now, starting with...
Oh snap, this is the American robin!
So these are the birds that you'll notice eating earthworms. They're the ones that are connected with the old adage, the early bird gets the worm. These are known as the early birds, as they're always some of the first birds you'll see in your front lawn. They're also known as the harbingers of spring. You'll see them most likely towards the end of winter, which is how you know birds are migrating back. Well, that's not how you know, but one of the signs at least. And they're very, very popular. They're very easy to spot. They have a nice bright red chest. It's right there actually. It's very short and pointy beak. Oh, and they're also followed by a guy in a bat suit at all times. Robins eat a lot of fruits in the fall and in the winter, and I actually thought it was really funny because I found out that if they eat predominantly honeysuckle berries, they tend to get intoxicated. They get drunk, which is so funny to me. Animals getting drunk. Maybe go to an AA meeting or something. The American robin can successfully produce 3 different broods. Only 40% of nests successfully produce young. Only 25% of those fledged youngs survive to November. So some of them don't even make it to November before the winter hits. And then about half of the robins alive in that year will make it to the next, which is so sad. Oh my gosh, they are literally dying left and right just by nature's design, which is so sad. Although they are estimated to live about 14 years, and the longest living one that has been recorded was about 13 years and 11 months, which means I have a very long war ahead of me. Robins are normally the ones where if I walk outside, they kind of just stay put. They scope me out, they make sure that I'm not coming at them, but they're not usually the ones to fly away so quickly.
I mean, I've also just had really good moments capturing these birds, like the one where I actually caught a bird pooping. I even told Tiffany, I said, hey, the one thing I want to do this quarantine is capture a bird pooping in slow motion. And I did. Might not be the best image to put on the internet, but it happened.
So, you know what? I get that, you know. They have a long life. They have a rough life, you know. Dying left and right, not knowing if they're going to make it to the next year. I get it if you want to slow down and not want to run away right away. I get it. I understand. So thank you. I'm not a bad guy. You don't have to run away from me like I'm a bad guy. I just don't want you to sing anymore. Is that such a big deal? We are going to move on to finches.
The American goldfinch, aka Spinus tristis.
The goldfinch, the house finch. These two predominantly are kind of on our porch a lot. There are other different types of species of finches, and right now the 2 that have landed most on our bird feeders are the house finch and the goldfinch. And let me tell you something about these birds. They are fast. They got agility. They be moving right. They be moving left. You don't know which way they're gonna go. And that is the problem with these ones. They are way too fast. They're not stealthy whatsoever because all they do is sing. Goldfinches are among some of the strictest vegetarians in the bird world. They have a diet exclusively of seeds and plant material, and they'll only ever occasionally eat a bug by accident as they're flying. House finches eat almost exclusively plant materials. They're known to be some of the bigger vegetarians in the bird world. They feed exclusively on seeds, buds, and fruits. Wild foods include wild mustard seeds, mulberry, poison oak, whoa, I did not know that, and cacti. That's interesting. Poison oak and cacti, wow. These are some resilient birds. Okay. They have a bouncy flight during which they make their potato chip calls. The cool thing about these birds is that they are very sociable. They seem to be the ones that hang out with the other birds, or at least when the other birds arrive, they're not the ones to run away so quickly. So they're very, very sociable. They like to hang out. I've been hanging outside all day doing this right now, recording, getting some B-roll. They're the only ones who come close to me, at least. They've come to the birdhouses that are closer to the house while I've been out here recording. They just watch me. They don't really do much but watch me, and they've stopped singing, which is nice. So there's a plus. Maybe I should just sleep out here. second thought, maybe not. So there are actually a lot of birds that pass by our front yard, and I by no means am just saying that these specific few are the only ones. I've seen downy woodpeckers, I've seen cardinals, I've seen a bunch of other birds that I don't even know the names of yet. Mourning doves, blue jays. It's incredible what you see when you're actually just standing still and just watching. Sometimes I just come out here for the ambience. And sometimes I just come out here to think. Sometimes I come out here to tell them to be quiet. The European starling. Now, these European starlings are all over the United States, but they all descended from 100 birds. Just 100 in New York. They were released in 1890, somewhere in that time frame. And they migrated. They were introduced into our ecosystem, and now they're all over my front yard. It's actually said that they have one of the loudest, more prominent bird songs, especially when they are in large groups. They are some of the more popular birds in this area. They're bullies. All they are bullies. These European starlings actually will nest in another bird's nest if they could not find a mate that year. So the females will put their eggs in a different nest and start a problem with the birds that nest belongs to. Oh my gosh. These starlings are some of the most annoying, some of the most brash, abusive birds on this lawn. And it's so funny to me because they don't care. They don't care. You can see it in their eyes. They don't care. They're the most annoying when it comes to that bird call. They are my biggest enemy and I will fight them. But first, I need to catch them because they can fly 48 miles per hour. Double check me on that. 48 miles per hour, that's pretty fast for a freaking bird. I'll give it that. I've been running all my life, I know fast. All these birds have taught me something. The robin, while it may be dying every chance it has the opportunity to, still perseveres, still pushes through, and still produces a brood. 3 as, contingency. And for the finches, they are very sociable. They're very friendly. They have a sweet, chirpy call, regardless of whether or not I am annoyed by it. I can't lie. It is very relaxing and soothing to come out here and listen to them. And then the European starling, although a big, giant bully, I think we can all agree that we all enjoy being fat sometimes and eating until our stomach can't take anymore. And these birds definitely have that within them. They all enjoy coming here, and after watching them, I'm kind of enjoying having them here. Maybe I'm not even annoyed anymore. Their songs are so relaxing, it actually soothes me. Maybe I've just been looking at this all wrong. Maybe instead of starting a war, I should have been learning. I should have been asking questions. I should have been befriending them.
Has this ever happened to you? You put out bird feeders and then birds come to your house? Well, call 1-800-GET-RID-OF-THEM and you can get me to your front yard to get rid of them. Because I will get rid of them. I will get rid of every single one of them if it is the last thing that I do. Huh! So maybe you should give us a call today. So I'm gonna switch up my plan. I couldn't get any of the birds to fit within frame while it's inside the bird feeder, so I think I'm just gonna attach it to the chain. It looks like the birds are getting kind of hungry, so that's what I'm gonna do.
What's the number one superpower to have? Flight. I'd like to think that birds have that superpower pretty much locked down to the point where humans want to replicate it. We get on airplanes trying to travel distances that we couldn't travel on our own 2 feet. It's amazing. They have the will, they have the ability, and they have the know-how. They know when to leave every winter, they know when to come back every spring. They know when to hatch and when to throw their kids off a branch. They just know instinctually. Animals are pretty interesting like that. They just know. An earthquake is coming and you can see rats running away. Birds just know when to fly. Sometimes I wish that I knew too, but I guess that's the point of life, isn't it? To figure it out, to learn as you go. Wow, I just blew my own mind. You know, in a weird way, I've learned a lot about these creatures and just how much we're alike. You see, a lot of these birds, while they do have food here, they are also scavengers. They find food that they can and bring it back to a nest full of eggs, a nest full of little birdlings. Is that the right word? I haven't studied everything, okay? They're scavengers, which means that they've had to go out and look for food wherever they can find it and just grab what they can and come back to a nest of hungry hatchlings, you know? And I used to live a life like that. I was a scavenger. You know, I used to live out of my car for a little while, so whatever I could find to eat, I would. Sometimes I would go without eating. It was tough, but, you know, I had a lot of friends who helped me out along the way. Some of them even put out food for me. So, I guess we're not too different. It's cool that we can coexist with some animals, especially birds, who have inspired so many things in our culture. Planes, wardrobes, even speech, dances, and they always bring a smile to our face. Well, that's all I got for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something, and maybe I can put this truce on the table between me and the birds. Who knows? Alright, I'm hungry. I'm gonna go make some eggs. See you guys later. Do you really want to know why I did this? Do you really want to know why this war started? Well, to tell you that, I need to let him introduce himself the way that he's introduced himself to me.